So I did my honors presentation of learning on how an actor prepares and compared with the hero's journey. So I'm Grayson Juhlin, originally from Southern California, a little town called San Luis Obispo. After I ended my 6th grade year, I moved to Salt Lake City, and attended a school called Roland Hall, where I got involved in the drama department. And ever since then, I've just been doing plays and did one musical. I'm not a big fan of it, but like it says, 7 plays, and I really, really enjoy acting. So kind of an overview of what I'm going to go through is the auditions, which represent the call to adventure for me, the callbacks, which is the supernatural aid in my mind, reading through the script for the first time, which is equivalent to crossing into the first threshold, rehearsal and learning lines as the trials and things that the hero faces in their journey, and the final production as being the master of 2 worlds. So to start off, auditions. So basically, an audition is you go and you perform a small segment for the director and the producer and people who the important people of the show, and then so I think that this closely represents the call to adventure, because it's something that you can either choose to like go into confidently and try your hardest and like even get a little crazy because generally they like to see that you can go out of your comfort zone, so that you can adapt to different roles.
What's that?
How you talking about?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, I don't know what that was.
So you sometimes you wanna it says here you must keep your nerves in check.
Yeah, you really do. It's a really nerve-wracking experience, because a lot of the times it's in rooms smaller than this, and it's like 4 or 5 people at a table, and you walk in and you have like nothing with you. So maybe you'll have a script, but maybe not, and you like act out a scene for them. So and like this is the call to adventure. Like you can either receive the call well or like deny it and like be like, oh, I'm too nervous. Like, so you really have to keep your nerves in check in order to begin your journey. And then callbacks. So the callbacks are basically a second round of auditions when they give you a call and they liked what you had to offer and what you bring to the table. And so this is I thought that this represented the supernatural aid, because it's someone of importance in the show asking you to come back and perform again for them. So it's not only like do you get to come back, but it's that one or more of the important high ranking people in the production want to are impressed by you. And they're the aid that's coming from the supernatural source. And then for the read-through, basically what happens is we would come into a room like this and everyone would take a seat and you read through the script to get to know it. And I thought this was crossing the first threshold because you're going into an unknown world, unless you've done the play before or anything like that. And these people are going to become members of your hero's journey, and they're each going on their own journey, and you kind of become a family through it. But it all starts with the read-through and the first sight of the script. And then for me in my life, these I value these more than most things. For me, I like to read the script 2 to maybe 5 times before we even start rehearsals to kind of get to know who I'm going to be playing. And my first drama teacher ever, Gary Lindemann, said to me that like acting is the coolest thing you get to do because you get to lend your body to someone else. So that's kind of like why I still enjoy doing it, and it's just fun for me to get to play other people. And then rehearsals. So rehearsals are absolutely terrible. They are long and boring, but they're also fun. And you learn your lines and you block and you decide where you're gonna go and what you're gonna say and how you're gonna say it, and all sorts of different things. And it is just painstakingly long. For Macbeth, we had a 7-hour rehearsal for a while after school every day. So it's a really hard thing to do, and you're trying new things every day. And so I thought it represented the trials in the hero's journey, because you're trying new things, you don't know whether they're gonna, be successful and the director's gonna like them and be, praise you and ask you to put that in the show, or if they're gonna tell you, don't do anything other than what I say. And so it's risk taking, and it's, like testing the waters out and stuff like that. And so I thought that the rehearsal closely resembles the trials portion of the hero's journey. Were you gonna say something?
Sure, I was going to say, interestingly enough, it's painstakingly slow. So patience and
Oh, yeah.
endurance and just sticking with it is just as important it's not like whitewater rafting where it's all fun and games and
Oh, no.
exciting. It can just be boring, excruciatingly
Mhm.
boring, and endurance must play a role.
Oh, it does. It plays a huge role. Being able to, especially when they're rehearsing a scene that you're not in, but you have to
Exactly.
be there.
Exactly.
And it makes a lot of people angry sometimes when they're like, why do I have to be here at 10 o'clock at night when I'm not even rehearsing? And it's just, I think like that sometimes, but then I usually try to change my mind about it and think like I'm understanding the play more so that then the next scene that I'm in, it can be reacted off of this scene.
Mm-hmm.
So there are trials and tribulations that you have to go through, but ultimately they are there for a purpose. So here's my page on trials, and so like I said, trying different things symbolizes the trials that the hero has to go through in order to become the master of two worlds. Not only trying things, but enduring the the slowness and the pain that comes with rehearsals. Like I got a concussion during a Macbeth rehearsal for being dropped about 7 feet onto my head, because at the end of the show I got lifted up on two guys' shoulders. So it's there's all kinds of different things that come with rehearsals, whether it be you're sitting in the audience having to watch a scene that you've seen 30 times before or anything. So
I was going to say, yeah, it seems like acting is actually a contact sport, and that a lot of actors, like Harrison Ford, I mean, although he does all his own stunts, but it sounds like he got pretty badly bashed up in that Indiana Jones trilogy or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and it surprises people when you tell them like how often someone takes a fall or something like that. But being in a rehearsal, like it happens at least once a day. Somebody takes a hard fall.
Mm.
So I mean, it's definitely that's a great way of putting it, like a contact sport. And that really kind of helps define the trials that you have to go through in order to become the master of the two worlds.
What about, can I just say, what about embarrassment on stage? Like, are there any mental trials that actors have to deal with?
Oh yeah, there are, the mental trials depend on the person. Like for me, I get nervous before the show, but while I'm on stage, I don't get nervous necessarily.
Uh-huh.
But then there are other people who get so nervous they have to focus on stage to like flex their legs so their knees don't like shake. They have to like focus that hard because they're so nervous. And so it's a different thing depending on who you are and what part you have, and there's a bunch of different things that go into it. But mental challenges play a big role, and definitely affect each and every person, even people that aren't the actors, even the director and the producer. Especially like in the example of Macbeth that I've been using, Miss Wood, she took the whole script of Macbeth and cut a lot of it out to make the play shorter, and that's I think that's a pretty decent mental challenge, because you have to decide like which parts do you have to keep in order to make the audience understand the story, however also be able to shorten it so that it won't drag on. So that was a mental challenge that she had to go through, and
One
she
other
handled it pretty
question.
well. Yeah.
When you have a whole theater troupe, a whole group of people, are there trials in terms of interpersonal relations? Like it sounds like there's a lot of emotional stress in terms of the long rehearsal stretch, 3 months you said. Do people get on each other's nerves? Does the pressure get, how does it?
The pressure builds during every day.
Oh, yeah?
And there's always like two people that play roles that are always together, and they just get sick of each other. And then eventually something will happen where, like for example with Misha and Bryce, the sword fighting, it took so long to like choreograph every like swing of their swords that one day they walked like up to the TD and literally sword fought, no choreograph. They were like, we're gonna go fight right now, and like that's how they like calmed themselves down and like got back into like, okay, this is.
They both did a great job. Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They were both amazing. So. Okay. So next one. So the production. Finally, the end of all the rehearsals, auditions, callbacks, everything, all the little things that you have to go through. Injuries and mental challenges like we talked about. So finally, all those are over, and you get to go out on stage and perform this live show for people who want to be there, and they're excited to see like you perform as somebody that they don't interact with on a day-to-day basis. And so while that's the positive side, the negative side is it is horribly frightening to go out in front of a live audience and knowing that at any minute you could make a mistake that could ultimately ruin the entire show. And while necessarily if you make a mistake the audience doesn't notice if you can play it off well, but it's a thought that goes through every actor's mind while they're on a stage, like because there is no cut, no second take, nothing. It's you, and you have to do it perfectly or fake it and hope it looks good. So that's like the scary portion of the final production. And then there's a weird thing that each actor has that's like rituals they do before each show, and casts. Like our whole cast at Wasatch has certain things that we do like all together as a cast. For me, I have pretty silly ones. I sing "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan. Don't know why, I just kind of do that, and I listen to the song "Lowrider" by War, and that gets me psyched up to go and perform in front of the live audience. And I can't even imagine going up to a live audience and performing without doing both of those things. And each person has their different little rituals that they go through in order to perform their best, and even it's just a mental thing. And so the grand finale. So once all the steps are complete, you've performed all your shows, a huge weight is lifted off your shoulders. I mean, you feel like you can fly, and like but you also feel empty, because that was your life. Like I said, for Macbeth with 3 months, it was, that's what we did every day until check-in time at the dorms. So while it's good to like get it over with, but then you're sad, like you miss it, and it's tough. But I think the final production overall symbolizes the master of the two worlds that Joseph Campbell speaks about in his hero's journey, and that's because you're a master of who you are, regardless of what you're doing in life. But then when you're doing a play and you're performing on stage, like I said, being another person, you're the master of that world. If you can successfully put on the show, so you're the master of both worlds, where it is the world that Macbeth lives in and Malcolm and all those guys, and then the world that Misha and I live in. And being able to pass between the two of them seamlessly and put on a show and then come back after the show's done and be yourself again is the mastery of the two worlds, both real and imaginary. All right, thank you. That's my honors presentation.
Nice work. So let me ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna do this? You're going to continue doing theater production here at Wasatch for the next 2 years. This is
my sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
So if I continue